Karl Marx's Class, Conflict, and Capitalism. Karl Marx is one of the most influential thinkers in the history of social science. His ideas about class, conflict, and capitalism shaped how people understand inequality and power. Marx believed that to understand society, one must first look at how people produce and distribute goods. He called this method historical materialism, meaning that material conditions, how people make a living, form the base upon which everything else, such as politics, culture, and religion, is built. For Marx, human history is a story of struggle between groups who own resources and those who do not. In every stage of history, society has been divided into classes. These classes are formed based on their relationship to the means of production, such as land, factories, and tools. In ancient times, there were masters and slaves. In feudal society, there were lords and peasants. In modern capitalist society, Marx said there are two main classes, the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The bourgeoisie are the owners of factories, businesses, and capital, while the proletariat are the workers who sell their labor for wages. According to Marx, capitalism is built on exploitation. The workers create products, but the profits from those products go mostly to the owners. The difference between what workers are paid and the value of what they produce is called surplus value. This surplus is the source of the capitalist's profit. The capitalist system depends on keeping wages low and productivity high. Marx believed this created an unequal relationship where workers have little control over their lives and the things they make. Marx argued that this inequality leads to class conflict. Throughout history, he said, progress comes through struggles between the ruling class and the oppressed. In capitalism, the conflict between the bourgeoisie and the proletariat would eventually reach a point where the working class becomes aware of its exploitation and rises up to challenge the system. Marx believed that capitalism carries within it the seeds of its own destruction. When inequality becomes unbearable, revolution becomes inevitable. The result, he predicted, would be a classless society where people work cooperatively rather than competitively. A central part of Marx's theory is the idea of alienation. Under capitalism, workers become alienated from their labor, from the products they create, from other people, and even from themselves. Because they do not control what they produce or how they work, labor becomes just a means to survive, not a source of pride or creativity. The worker's energy and time are spent creating wealth for someone else. Marx saw this as one of the greatest tragedies of modern life. People are disconnected from the joy of creation and from their own potential as human beings. Marx also discussed how capitalism changes human relationships. In capitalist societies, everything becomes a commodity, something that can be bought or sold. Even human abilities, emotions, and relationships take on economic value. This process, called commodification, turns social life into a marketplace. People start to measure their worth in money and possessions rather than human qualities. As a result, society becomes more materialistic, and genuine connections weaken. Another important idea in Marx's theory is false consciousness. He believed that the ruling class maintains its power not only through economic control but also through control of ideas. Through education, religion, and media, the capitalist system teaches people to accept inequality as natural. Workers may believe that their poverty is their own fault or that success comes only through individual effort. This false consciousness prevents them from recognizing their shared struggle. When workers develop class consciousness, an awareness of their common condition, they can unite to demand change and challenge the capitalist system. Marx acknowledged that capitalism is a powerful and dynamic system. It encourages innovation, builds industries, and connects the world through trade. But he also argued that it is unstable because it constantly seeks more profit. Capitalists compete with each other, cut costs, and sometimes overproduce, leading to economic crises. These crises cause unemployment, poverty, and social unrest. Each crisis exposes the contradictions of capitalism and pushes society closer to change. Marx envisioned a future society, communism, where there would be no private ownership of the means of production. In this system, resources would be shared, and production would focus on meeting human needs rather than generating profit. Work would become meaningful and creative, and people would contribute according to their abilities and receive according to their needs. He believed this would free humanity from the cycle of exploitation and alienation. Although Marx's predictions did not come true exactly as he imagined, his ideas remain highly relevant. His analysis of inequality helps explain why some people control vast wealth while others struggle to survive. In today's world, global corporations hold enormous power, and many workers face insecurity through low wages, automation, and temporary jobs. The gap between rich and poor continues to grow, just as Marx described. His theory of class struggle can also be seen in modern social movements that demand fair pay, workers' rights, and economic justice. Technology and globalization have changed how capitalism looks, but the basic issues Marx identified still exist. The internet has created new forms of labor and wealth, but it has also produced digital monopolies and data exploitation. Gig workers who drive cars, deliver food, or create online content often face unstable conditions similar to what Marx would call exploitation. At the same time, a small group of tech billionaires accumulates enormous power. The patterns of inequality remain, even if the tools have changed. Marx's ideas also remind us that social change begins with awareness. By studying class relations, people can better understand the forces shaping their lives. For Marx, the goal was not just to interpret the world but to change it. He wanted a society based on cooperation, equality, and dignity for all. Whether or not one agrees with his revolutionary solution, his analysis of how economic systems shape human experience continues to inspire sociologists, activists, and thinkers around the world. In simple terms, Marx teaches us that inequality is not a natural fact of life but a product of social and economic systems that can be changed. His theory invites us to look beyond appearances, to question who benefits from the way society is organized, and to imagine a world where people are valued for their humanity rather than their profit. If you found this explanation of Karl Marx's ideas on class, conflict, and capitalism helpful and thought-provoking, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more insightful discussions on sociology and social theory.